Hey, everybody. I hope that you are doing well today. Oh my goodness. Am I excited? Today, we are going to be talking with some of our veteran VAs, some of those who have been there, done that. And let me tell you, this is going to be pretty phenomenal. I know that, one of the best things, in my opinion, for you guys to hear are people who have been this journey, who have faced the same fears, who maybe have some of the same roadblocks that you guys do, right? We all come into this situation of starting a business, of being brand new and not really knowing what we're doing or where we're going. We all come to this with our own kind of like what ifs or our own, hurdles that we have to jump over. And most of the time, what I have found is that we tend to feel very alone in those hurdles, right? We tend to feel like, man, like I have a spouse that is not supportive and I don't know anyone else who's dealing with this. Or I have, I'm working a full-time job and doing this and this and this and this and this. And I'm so overloaded. I don't really have time. And we feel like we're alone in that, right? And that's why I feel like it's so important. It's vital, number one, for you to have accountability so that there's people that it's like, oh, I am going through this with other people. And even if my struggles aren't exactly the same, like the aspect of having struggle in your business when you're starting something new, when you're trying to go after something for you, you are pretty much going to have some kind of difficulty in that. And so hearing other people's stories and hearing how they got started, what worked for them, what were some of their fears, what really motivated them to keep going even when things were difficult. Hearing other people who have those same stories can do so much. So I'm so excited to chat with some of our amazing Savvies today. I'm going to introduce them to you guys individually, and then we're just going to ask some questions. We're going to give you guys a chance to do Q&A. So if you've wanted a chance to ask real virtual assistants who are doing their business full-time, who have gone from zero to established business owner, if you've wanted a chance just to pick the brain of a VA, this is the time to do it. So I'm going to introduce them individually. Make sure you give them lots of shout outs and love in the comments. And I do want to mention, guys, that the Savvy system is still open. And actually, everybody that I'm bringing on today are Savvy system students. So they're individuals who have gone through our program, who are on the other side and who have made this thing work, right? So if that's something that you're looking for is a step-by-step system to launch your business, the Savvy system is open. We only open it twice a year, and we're actually raising prices in July. So this is the last time to get it at its current pricing, okay? So just wanted to send you a reminder of all of that before we jump in. So are you guys ready? Do you want to meet our guests? You're going to be so excited. I'm so excited. All right, let's do this thing. First, I'm going to bring on Samantha. Hey, Samantha.
Hey.
How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm so good. Why don't you tell everybody where you're from and the services that you offer currently?
Yeah. So my name's Sam. Hi, everyone. And I'm originally from California. We just moved over here to the Nashville area. And currently my services are social media and ads.
Awesome. I love that. What kind of ads?
Facebook, Instagram ads.
Perfect. Yay. We're going to dive deeper into your story because we want to hear how you got started and all of those things, but I'm going to do quick intros of everybody first. Okay. So I'm going to take Samantha down and bring up Leilani. Hey. Oh, I think you might be muted. Hold on. I'll fix it. There we go.
Hi, sorry.
No, we're good. How's it going?
It's fantastic today.
Oh, good. Where are you located again?
I'm in Oregon.
You're in Oregon. Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. And tell us about your services, your business, Virtual Assistants Pros. Tell me what your business does.
Yeah, so I like to describe it in 3 silos. So I do administrative, I do social media, and then I actually do project management and systems. So my niche is project management systems. That's where I love and thrive to be. Mm-hmm. But starting my business, I had to do the administrative, and then with the lovely support with you guys, now I have subcontractors, so I can offer all of these great things.
Oh, I love that. So you've moved into more of the high-end project management systems, but you're like, rather than just letting all those other clients go, let me hire other people to do those things.
Exactly.
Brilliant. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to dig into that more. Okay, so cool. Great. We're going to bring up Lynette.
Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
It is wonderful. I'm so happy to see you.
I know, me too. This is so fun. Lynette and I only live like 3 hours from each other, and we still have not met for coffee. How has this not happened?
We're fixing that very soon. We're going to fix it.
Tell us a little bit about your business as it is right now. What services do you offer? What are you doing right now?
Oh, I'm so happy to say this. I am in operations consulting right now. So how that breaks down is strategic business planning, project and launch management, and director of operations services.
Oh my goodness. It sounds really fancy, guys, because it is really fancy. I'm so cool. But I know you didn't start right at the very beginning with those services. So
I did not. I started out as a general virtual assistant.
Perfect. Oh, so good. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to bring everybody on, and we're just going to have a chat, you guys, because this is so fun to get, a group of people together who have been on this journey individually, but together, right? And so going through the same program, going through the same system, the same journey, right? So that's first what I want to start with is, what that journey, what did that look like for you? And we'll just go one at a time. And really, I would love for you guys just to kind of paint a picture of what did it look like when you started? What was your life like? What were you doing previously? And kind of what, a recap of what that journey has been so far. So we'll go ahead and start with Samantha again.
Okay. Hey, so I have been doing this for almost 3 years. When you asked, oh, I'm your veteran, and I was trying to count how long it's actually been. But prior to 3 years ago, I was working in a hospital, and that is where I thought I'd be forever, working 12-hour shifts, 8-hour shifts, nights, days, all the craziness, basically whatever could get me to pay the least in childcare, right? So I have 4 kids. Childcare is really expensive, but there came a point after my 4th son that I realized he had some complications after birth, and I realized I can't keep pouring into the hospital, working here, doing all this, and taking care of my son in the way that I should have been taking care of, right? So literally, that day, I remember it so vividly, I made a decision that I don't know what the heck I'm going to do, but I have to do something other than this. And so I spent, I won't say how many hours Googling, I didn't even know this world existed. Okay, for the record, I had no idea any of this was a thing. So I Google, and then virtual assistant. Yes, I can totally do that. I found Abby. I stalked her so much and all of her things. I found the SavvySysytem. And what I really did was okay, aside from the hospital, I was doing volunteer work and social media for a church and a nonprofit. I had already had these skills. And through Abby's training, I realized, oh, shoot, I can make a business out of this. And then later, of course, I realized I can make a very profitable business out of this from home with my 4 children, doing whatever I want to do.
That's amazing. So
yeah.
What does life look like now then? What are you, so you're doing social media services, your business has grown, it really sounds like, right?
Yes, it has. It's incredible. So a few months into starting my business, I realized that I wasn't virtual assisting, doing all the things for me wasn't necessarily for me. I didn't feel like I could do all the things for business owners, and all the things for my house full of children. So I niched down, I pivoted, and I just did social media. And then I took a course on ads, and then now even now today, I just do social media and ads. And I work for anyone from the mom and pop store down the street to 6- and 7-figure entrepreneurs online. And I love it. My life looks like I get to do what I love. I get to meet people that I love, which is all you guys, and then still have time for my family and my friends and trying to make friends here.
Oh my gosh. Could you imagine back when you were in the healthcare industry that you would be saying the things that you're saying right now. Like I run ads for 6 and 7 figure businesses. Like, could you even
No,
it, right?
I had no idea. And then of course, then like you trade time for money. So if I wanted what I make now a month, it would have been like a bajillion hours and they would have told me no.
And they would not. Yeah, and that's such a true thing. There really isn't a cap necessarily, right? Because no matter where you're at now, I'm sure you probably see, like, not that it's not going to take work and it's not going to take, some strategy, but you probably see like, man, there's still room to grow, right? I'm assuming.
Yeah. And I'm still hitting those mindsets, which we'll get to later. But yeah.
So cool. And I love that you started out with general admin, because that's, I think so many of us, we feel like I'm not qualified. I don't know how to do ads. I don't know how to do social media. Well, neither did Samantha when she started out, right? Like, you've got to start.
No.
Yeah.
Yes. And you're like, not a pitch, but like literally I had all the tools that I needed to find the skills I needed to get the testimonies from people that just knew me. And I paid for the course very shortly after with just finding virtual assistant clients. Like, it paid for itself. So for me, it was a win-win.
That's so cool. I love it. All right. So let's go to Leilani and tell us about your journey. I'm going to bring you guys on individually. That way we have sounding good for everybody. So yeah, tell us, because you're our newest person on the call. You joined around during the last launch, right? In August, July or August of last year?
Yep, that's exactly when I started. So this time last year, I had no idea what the Savvy system was. I had no idea that being a VA was something. I mean, I knew people did it, but I didn't know much about it. I was and still am licensed in life and health in 16 states across the United States. I specialize in long-term care specifically. Oh, wow. So I was doing that for the last 6 years, and this time last year, I was actually in Arizona at an insurance conference for the week. So that's great. Fast forward a few weeks, a month and a half, COVID hits, and the company I was working for, I was actually W-2 for them instead of being 1099 like most agents. And so the option was, and it's very small, and they couldn't afford to keep me on as a W-2. So it was, and they needed to lay me off. So either I could take the layoff or go 1099. And at the time, I was scared to go by myself to do anything, and my kids weren't going to school. I didn't know what was happening, so I took the layoff. And praise God I did, because I found you, and I told you when I got on this like 20 minutes ago, I'm fangirling a little bit, just chatting with you, because it's so exciting to be able to see these lovely women succeeding and doing what they're doing, because that's where I never thought I could be. I had a friend contact me a couple months later and tell me she wanted to subcontract me actually as a VA, because she was starting her own VA business, but she didn't know about you yet. And so I was like, no, again, I'm afraid to go by myself. I don't know if I have the skills. I don't know how to market. I'm afraid. And plus, I was afraid of the stability. I wanted the W-2 stability because of somebody else's employment. But as I could see, it wasn't stable, right? I just got laid off because of COVID. Yeah. So I started poking around and looking at different things. I Googled, just like Samantha said, and found the Savvy system, and I literally feel like I stumbled upon gold when that happened, because I sent it to my husband and I was like, look, okay, I think that I could do this, because it's like a business in a box. Like, she has everything. Like, I could do this. And he's like, I don't know. He's skeptical. He was definitely like, we could hire someone overseas. He was playing that devil's advocate. My biggest support today is him, but he wanted to challenge me to make sure that I could do it. And then I took your 5-day course, because I was like, I'll just do the 5 days with all the freebies, and I can, see if it's for me. Day 2, I was like, when do I buy this? When does it go on sale? Like, I need this in my life. So that was in July. And then August, I did pro bono work for people, just because I was trying to get all the different systems in place. You blew my mind with the Netflix of skills, because I knew that I was talented in many areas, but lacked the confidence to truly see it through. So being able to take those courses really helped me solidify what I was offering. And by September, I opened up my doors, and within the first week, I had 4 clients.
Wow. In 1 week?
In 1 week, I had 4 clients.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. We're definitely going to have to dig into that, because that's
I was jumping off the couch Tom Cruise style on my first client.
And what did your husband say when that happened?
He loved me, hugged me, and said, "Babe, I knew you could do it all along." He's always been my biggest supporter, but he wants to be real too, because those are questions we're getting in real life. Why do I hire somebody here at this price when I could go overseas with something else? And I always tell him, it's great if you can find that work and that level of trust, then do that for that price. But there's a security in having me here.
Yeah.
And my clients can see that.
It's just so phenomenal too, because, you know, I love how he like asked the tough questions. And like, I think sometimes we view people asking us the tough questions as they're being critical or they don't believe in me or whatever. But it's like, no, he believed in me. But like, part of believing in you is wanting the best for you. So like, you know, it's okay for somebody to ask you the tough questions, and for, you know, so that you really do know, okay, nope, I can do this. So
Absolutely.
I love that. I love that. Oh, okay. And then Lynette, so tell us about your business. Tell us about, you know, it's been 1 year. Happy 1 year anniversary.
Thank you. And you know what? Like I said, I'm having a moment right now, because literally this time last year, I was purchasing the Savvy system, the Savvy Vault, and the VA toolkit. And at that time, I had no idea what I was moving toward, really. I had no idea that I would be in business where I am right now, super happy. In the back of my mind, I feel like I still was having limiting doubts, thinking that I would be going back to corporate America. So before I even go down that track, I'll tell you how I got here. I am a person who spent over a decade and a half in corporate America in technology. And that technology role that I played in sales allowed me visibility to work with people in a variety of different vertical industries. I've had on a hard hat, steel toe boots, and safety goggles. I've walked through healthcare facilities. I've worked in energy and utilities. I've worked in law firms, finance. I've worked in a variety of different industries. And I got to a place after probably 13 years where I felt like, even though I had a really great bond with my clients and I was respected amongst my team, I felt like the impact that I was looking to have, I was not necessarily having in my corporate America role. And then also, when you are going to someone else's job, you really don't have control.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of different things were changing. And even though I'm a person who adapts well to change, I'm a very coachable person. The changes that were happening at that time in the company that I worked for, I did not like. And I felt like I was being squeezed a bit. And I'm happy for that squeeze, because it pushed me to create some space in my private time to take assessment of the skills and the things that I had enjoyed in my corporate America career over a decade. I looked at every single role that I had, and I took down what I liked about it and what I didn't like about it, so that knowing I would be leaving corporate America, I was sure to not take on jobs or tasks that did not bring me joy.
So good.
And once I did that, I said, okay, now I know the things that I like and the things that I definitely don't. So I know what to avoid. Now, where can I go with this? What can I do with it? And I have 2 babies. Well, they're not babies. They're right here and right here. So I needed something that was going to give me the flexibility to be able to care for them. At the time, they were like probably a newborn and 2 and 4, I think, at the time, somewhere around that age, where they still kind of need you a lot, you know? So I did some research. I came across Abby on YouTube, and I was like a sponge. I soaked up all of the free advice. I joined the Facebook communities. I stalked everything everywhere that you had. I downloaded all the tools. I printed out everything. I had even begun working on it, because I think at that time the launch checklist was available. You had several tools that were valuable that you had provided to people for free. And then the point in time came where it was time to make a decision, because I did your 5-day jump start. And at the end, it was like, okay, are you going to go for it? Are you going to do it? Are you going to do it? And something in me was telling me that I needed to do it, because I had been in a corporate America space for so long. I only knew one business owner at the time. And thinking of that, I didn't want to follow what she was doing because I didn't feel like she was that great. No shade, but I didn't. And I was just like, if I'm going to leave this job where I'm comfortable, I was making six figures, to start out on my own, I needed a blueprint that worked. I needed a model that was successful. And when I spoke with someone who was a mentor for me, that was one of the first things she said. She said, find a model that works and follow that model. You don't need to reinvent the wheel if you don't have to. Find a model that works.
So good.
And that is how I came across your program. Just from doing the 5-day jumpstart, the free tools, watching the YouTube videos that I watched, and experiencing the virtual savvy community, that was enough for me to say, okay, I'm going to make this investment because I'm putting myself at greater risk if I don't. There's nothing I could possibly lose, but I have everything to gain by making this decision.
So good.
So
good.
it's been go time ever since. I've been full speed ahead ever since. I was booked out right away because I was in sales. I hit the ground running, prospecting, cold calling, getting those clients. So, I became fully booked before I knew it. I started out as a general administrative virtual assistant. I had no intention of niching down, but I found that because I was open and I'm a person who constantly is working on identifying the things that fulfill me, constantly taking inventory of myself, I found myself veering toward operations. I discovered that I'm a talker, as you can see. I love people. So the way my business has grown and developed is a way that I'm so happy about. I have my accountability partner through the program, just being active in the group. I was boxering with her like literally before we got on the phone. 1 year later, people, 1 year later, I bonded with several people in this group that I still talk with to this day. Olivia and I, she's a real estate VA. We were messaging over the weekend. I was referring a client to her in her niche. She's asking me what I'm doing right now because she knows that I've transitioned to a specific niche. She wants to refer people across to me. Like, it is such a tremendous blessing that I did not foresee sitting on the opposite side of this call last year. I had no idea. I had no idea. None. I won't be long-winded. I'll leave it there because I know there's probably a lot to talk about, but I couldn't rave about this more. I'm telling you right now, I couldn't.
Well, we're proud of you because you obviously you did the work, right? Like you did put yourself out there, and that's, the people that we find that have the quickest success are the ones who follow a blueprint and who just don't let fear hold them back. Fear is the number one thing that will stall you. And if you just say, you know what, like you said, I have nothing to lose and everything to gain. Like, let's just do this thing. So good. So here's what I would love to hear from you guys is, what would you tell your pre-VA self if you could just go back in time to that moment where you were thinking, I don't know if I have the skills, or if I don't know if I have the time, or I don't know if I have fill in the blank. What would you go back and kind of tell that individual? We'll start with Stephanie again. Oh, there you go.
I'm muted, sorry. Good question. I would probably tell myself two things. One of which is to just think and do it. I feel like I made the decision very quickly to do this, but then after I hesitated, like, oh my gosh, is this the right thing? Like all of, you talked about, fears had come up. So I would definitely tell myself, like, just do it. And the second thing I would probably tell myself, other than don't be afraid, is to just find what you love and do that well. Like, I believe the internet is a huge place. You could literally do whatever you wanted and make a business off of it. And I was so afraid in the beginning that I wasn't doing it right. Like, it's my type 1, right? Or something. And so follow the blueprint, do it, and then find what you love and keep going towards that.
I love that. It's crazy when you really dig in and you start looking. I know a guy who teaches people how to raise chickens. Like, there's people who do like virtual fashion consulting. Like there's so much, but like I think that one of the best things why I love virtual assistants so much is because it gives you that for most of you guys will start off as a VA and down the line you'll end up as something else entirely. And that's a win in my book, honestly, because I think there's something about virtual assistants that enables you to see like, oh, this is possible. Like I can use the skills I have to make money. Well, so now I know I can use the skills I have. Well, what, out of those skills, which ones do I really love? Or are there other skills that I have? Or, could I learn a different new skill that I'm interested in? Right. And I think just that ability to like, to just get that money coming in with skills you have is like this like eye-opening moment, right? Is that what it was for you? Sam?
Yeah, and the toolbox, like I loved that I could try if a client came to me, because then all of a sudden you put yourself out there and people notice and they come to you. And so it'd be like, can you do Dubsado or can you do Infusionsoft? And I'm like, let me check my toolbox real quick. Let me find the course or program, part of that to teach me. But yeah, I felt like I was fully equipped and I settled my virtual assistant portion of my business and was confident in that. And then I was like, okay, out of this, what do I really love doing? Like, what can I do for the rest of my life? What can I make a business out of? And totally, I literally, I went to a conference, my first ever business conference last year before all the crazy. And I met a girl who makes gluten-free, kosher dog treats. Okay. And girlfriend was making beyond 6 figures. And I just looked at her like, yes, girl, because you can do whatever you want. Like, I
know, it's so true. Like, just do what you love. Follow a blueprint, but do what you love. So good. All right, Leilani, what would you go back and tell your pre-VA self?
My pre-VA self, I would say you are not alone, and you will never be alone. The amount of support that we have as a SavvySysytem and our tools is amazing. When I started, yes, you give all the blueprints and the pages and the Google Docs and all that great information, but the meat and the bones of your group is in Facebook and the community that you have built, because I can go on there and ask a question and put my doubts out there and people are lifting me up and saying, girl, think differently. You're better than that. Don't let your mind win, and that is a huge support. My husband loves me, will always be support. My kids love me. They think I look beautiful in the morning with messy hair. But when I am I'm struggling because I want to pull my weight or I want to be making my own money, I am also very independent. I feel like I'm doubting myself. Guess what? I go onto the SavvySysytem in the community and there they are. So you're not alone. And just like previously stated, any of the support tools you need are there. Don't be afraid to jump in and take the investment in yourself. We spend X amount of money on hair products and beauty products and all these things that we do for ourselves. But when it comes to really educating ourselves and moving forward, don't be afraid to invest in yourself and know that you've got that safety net to catch you, if that all makes sense.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I feel.
I have one question for you. If there was, I'm just going to dig in there. So hopefully you're ready. But before you started this, could you identify, was there one lie that because you talked about that brain, right? Like your brain and it getting the best of you, but is there one lie that you can identify that you were telling yourself?
Oh yeah, it was fear. It was, you're going to fail. You're so good at getting things started, but you can't maintain this. I would tell myself, you're a really great mom, and I told you before, I'm a foster parent, so I love children and I have lots of children in my home. That's the only thing you're good at, but you can't really make money. You're not in foster care definitely for money, but you can't make money off raising your own children. You know what I'm saying? If anything, you're putting out money for your own children. And I want to be able to have that. For me, my business is going to be a legacy, whether my children want to continue it or I end up selling it in the future, it's going to be our legacy. And I would tell myself, I'd lie to myself, when are you going to mess up? It's only X amount of time before you fail. And that says a lot about my confidence. I'm a very confident person, but that's that biggest lie that I would tell myself.
Yeah.
And so with having that community, having our community, it's so helpful to check me out of that.
Thank you for being vulnerable about that, because honestly, I would probably let us know in the comments if you're willing to. Like, I would feel, I bet there's people who are saying that to themselves and they don't even realize it until they heard you say it. So thank you for opening up about that, because I think that's, we do. It's like, this could be the greatest program in the world, or this could be, this could be the best industry to get into. This could be like the whatever, but can I do it? Right? Like, am I enough? Do I have what it takes? So way to just face that, right?
I mean, there's still times. I mean, there was an instance when we talked about a little bit about how I switched my business from being a general VA to where I want to niche down to. I didn't know how to price that. I didn't know how to pivot from being hourly to project based. Well, I went on there, and you have such a great community. We have such a great community that ladies were telling me, and then this is how I did it. Have you considered this? How much would this be for you? And it's like, wow, okay, I never thought of it that way. Thank you,
Yeah.
So had I been alone, I maybe never made the pivot, or would have made the pivot and I would have failed because I wouldn't have done it properly or thought about it from all sides.
Oh, so good. Thank you for sharing that. Lynette, what do you wish that you could go back and tell your pre-VA self?
Oh, there's a list. But I'm just going to narrow it down to the major ones for me. I am a person who struggles with perfectionism, being a perfectionist. I would hold off on putting things out there on social media, on my website, on my Facebook page, on Instagram, because I didn't feel like it was perfect.
Mm.
And that is something that is such a lie. And to take it even a step further, I sometimes think I can make something more perfect. Like, isn't that crazy? Like, how can you make something more perfect? There was anything I would say to my previous VA self at that time, it is to just go. It is to do it. Progress, not perfection. I think that's something I remember you saying, Abby, all the time. Do not get stuck in the small details. You're delaying your success. Go for it, move forward with it. And with my standards, whatever I thought I needed to improve was probably fine by everybody else's standards anyway. So all I did was delay myself from getting that next client, from figuring out that next aha moment. It's just not worth it. You're going to drive yourself crazy.
Yeah.
Go for it and do it. And then the other thing that I would say to myself is not to just do the course, not just to listen to the course, do the homework. I still go in the Savvy Vault, and I've purchased this course a year ago. I was in the Savvy Vault this weekend looking at ClickUp. Okay. So when you purchase these tools, do the homework, show up in the group. There are so many powerhouse speakers that you have brought in that have shared information that have given me such aha moments. I mean, I could go on, like, totally. At the time, Rachel Dorsey was my coach. Again, I talked about my accountability partner that I found in the group. You're not just getting the course here. You're not just getting the Savvy Vault. There's so much that comes along with it that you can use that will help continue to keep you moving forward. But you have to tap in seriously and intentionally, tap in, get your accountability partner, lock arms, and make your mind up that this is what you're going to do. And when I purchased this, I had my mind made up, because when I left corporate America, I had a certain amount of money.
Right?
And I'm like, some money's got to start rolling in here, because this number that I have cannot dwindle down. I got to bring some money back in here.
No.
So I said to myself, this has got to work. It's got to work. And because I had that mentality, it has to work. I left no stone unturned. I got with my accountability partner and we talked. And like I said, I just was boxing with her before we got on the phone here. I can remember several of the accountability calls being on them and how great it felt to just talk through goals and things I'm working on with people who are in the same position that I'm in. People in the group come from a place of service. People have giving hearts. People want to provide value. They don't want you to make mistakes that they made. So I am just so glad that I participated, that when I did participate, I was fully there so that as I continued down my journey, I could take the things that I learned and my experiences and the knowledge that people were imparting to us along the way and apply it. So
Mm.
don't just get the course and have it. Do the assignments, meet other people that you can talk with and check in with. And even if you don't put your struggles or your questions out there in the group, meet some other people that you can Voxer with, DM with.
Mm-hmm.
Don't miss out on the value of the whole picture and the whole piece of the pie that you're getting when you invest in the Savvy system and the Savvy Vault and the VA toolkit.
Mm.
It would be a huge miss.
It's
And
so
I'm glad I didn't miss it.
It's so good. When you find yourself getting into that perfectionism trap, is there like a certain thing that you do? Is there a certain like way that you get past that? Like, do you have any like tips? Because I feel like that is so many people probably here. It's me, right? Like I still do that where I'm just like, I'll be working on something, and I'm just like, why am I still working on this? This is like a little thing that I really shouldn't be spending 3 hours on. So do you have any tips for that?
Yes, I know how long things should take me. And when I decide there's something I'm going to do, I set a deadline for myself. I know my capacity. I already know I got 2 kids right here who take up a lot of time. I know my business capacity. So when I decide to take on something, I am aware at how much time it should take me to get it done, and I commit to that. If I go outside of that time, I'm doing a self-check. Has something happened that's like, a variant, something that I didn't expect? That's the reason why I'm taking this a long time. If the answer to that is no, then I know I need to investigate further. How long have you been working on this detail? Like, I know the things that will cause me to spin and get on that hamster wheel of thinking I can make something perfect or more perfect. So then I ask myself, can you put this out right now? 9 times out of 10, the answer is yes. Will other people think this is fine? The answer is yes. And I make myself do it.
Yeah.
I hate those moments, by the way. I hate them so much.
I know.
Oh, can you tell I still struggle with this a bit? I'm like,
no, it's hard. The deadline thing is perfect. And I think that's where accountability can come in too, right?
yes,
Be like, all
yes,
right, by Friday, I'm gonna freaking choose my business name, accountability.
yes,
Whatever. If I haven't chosen by then, I'm gonna put them in a hat and I'm gonna draw one, and you're gonna watch me just pick it, right?
yes.
And just
And you cut yourself off. Yes, and you cut it off. Like, I've had to make myself just stop it.
So good. So good. All right, let's do one more question and then we'll do kind of a Q&A time. All right. So one of the main, I think, fears, struggles, doubts that people have is like, I don't know how to market. Am I really going to get clients? Like, are people really willing to pay me for this? Like, I can write emails. Can someone really pay me for that? Or, and so I'd love to hear just kind of your first client story and what did that feel like? What did that validate for you once you had that first person say yes? Sam, I like this rotation. So we'll just keep going.
Yeah. So it's funny because the thing that comes to mind is I learned in somewhere along the way that you just have to know more than your ideal client. So you don't have to be like the biggest superstar in whatever you want to do, right? You just have to know more than the people you're working with, your clients, right? And so once I took that, I was like, heck yeah, I know a lot more. Your email writing is way better than your clients. That's why they're looking for this. So like when you said that, I'm like, yes, the answer is yes. People want to hire you for this. But my first official client, who I still have today, is she was someone I had met through the nonprofit. So what I did was I created a business. I announced it on social media. And then I had people that I knew were interested, or they would sort of refer me in that way. Like, oh, I don't have a business, but George does. Can you do this for George or whatever? But one of them, she's an insurance agent. And so I started as a virtual assistant, writing the thank you cards, updating the website, doing all the things, right?
Yeah.
I still have her now, but I remember when I got it, when I signed with her, I was totally unsure about my price. I was unsure about, like, is this going to work? And then when I signed her, I was like, yes, like something changed and flipped in me where my confidence just sort of like clicked on. The things that I'd already learned through the system, the community cheered me on. I remember sending like my proposal to Rachel, posting it in the group, all the things, right? Like the virtual Savvies, this group is incredible. The SavvySysytem small community is like a million times more better. Yep, you're welcome. Yeah. So, but because I just posted my proposal, they gave me feedback, I made a tweak, and then I sent it. So I remember being like, oh my God, this is so creepy, to, yep, one down, I need how many more to go? Like, I have goals, I have a why. It like clicked confidence. I don't know. Yeah. I remember that feeling though.
I call it the first client hump. And once you get over it, you're like, oh,
yes.
That's it. I can do this. But yeah, it's terrifying.
And I can keep doing it, right? Yeah.
Oh, you're good. Once you do it once, yeah, you can do it again. So, yeah, I think what's also really cool about what you just mentioned is that is that it's at least what it sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like you came in offering general admin and you're like, I think these are the skills I can do. I think these are the services that I can do. But it sounds like your client kind of already had like some projects that already had kind of her own systems, and you really just had to come and help her with some things, right?
Yeah. And as I learned, right, and as I grew with her, I filled whatever needs she had. It's basically what happened. You're right. And then as we grew together, I was then able to offer like, hey, let's do this, or let's make this a system. Let's change it. But yeah, it was basically, I've realized now that everybody has their own idea of what a virtual assistant does, and that you can customize that. And so, yeah, that first client, I was just filling in her needs and like, this is what I can do for you. This is what she needed. And then, yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. Cause I think people get scared that it's going to be like, someone's going to hire you and they're going to be like, okay, now what? Like what? And I mean, maybe a client will do that. And you can be like, all right, here's some of the things I can do. Which ones do you want me to do? But most of the time when you're doing general VA work, right? When you're doing general VA work, most of the time, the person that is your client already has like the things. They're hiring you because they're overwhelmed and they're overloaded. And it's not like, I want you to launch this brand new thing. It's like, here's the thing that I've been doing that's taking all my time. Can you take it over for me? And you literally just learn that system, take it over and go, right? Or they may be like, okay, I'm really ready to do this, but I'm needing help getting started. And so you can do research or use Savvy Vault to get this new thing started. But like, it's usually they already have some kind of systems and processes in place. So you don't, the majority of the time, I feel like with first clients, if you're doing general VA work, you don't have to be so scared of the like, what if they ask me to do something I don't know how to do? Because most of the time they already have a plan for you of how to do the thing. And then if they do ask you to do something you don't know how to do, you just tell them, I've never done it, right? I'm willing to learn.
Yeah. And even like now that I've hired, I understand more too, is like, they're not trying to give you, like, you're not going to all of a sudden step in and be like the CEO of their business, right? They want you to take the tasks that are taking up their time, which are the low hanging fruits for them that you can absolutely grab onto and complete for them. And if not, then Savvy Vault, the system, the community, they're there to help you through that.
Totally. Okay. So, Leilani, I would love to hear from you just about your first client experience. What was that like? How did it feel? How did it happen? Because this wasn't that long ago, right? It's been like 6 months.
It wasn't that long ago, September. And one of the things that you mentioned in the training is to get the accountability, but then networking. So I joined a network called BNI, and I think also helped explode my business. So my very first client came out of BNI. Even though that I had my pro bono clients who then ended up signing with me, but she signed first as a real client. And I remember jumping off the couch, being so excited. I called my husband, I called mom, and I'm like, can you believe it? Somebody's going to pay me to work for them. I'm so excited. And then I was like, I got to get the contract from the Savvy Vault, so doing all those things. But it was very elating and exciting. It proved to me that I could do my job. My 3 core main values of my business is honor, integrity, and flexibility. And being able to truly do that for clients was huge. I still have, as she mentioned with her client, I still have my first client, and she books month after month with me. And we talk about retainer all the time. I'm a little bit more worried about that, but I'm still new in that sense. I'm still learning. But she wants to book out for a year, and I'm like, how about we do 6 months first? Just go there.
Like my prices might be triple in a year.
It was amazing. And I just remember knowing that it was going to be okay. I had what I realized with a lot of people that I had spoke to is they like the idea of a virtual assistant, but they have no idea how to make it work. And so when I came to the table with the tools that I learned from this program, hey, I've got Trello. I track my time. I can send it to you so you know how many hours I'm working and when I'm doing it. I also have a CRM that does my invoicing so that you'll get a proper invoice so you can write this off. And then here's my project management tool that I use that I can add you to so you can see what I'm doing on your project specifically. They were like mind blown.
Yeah.
And now, so from September to today, I have clients that I've signed up and done all of these things with, correct? Now there are people that are like, I don't even need to check up on that project board because you're just getting stuff done.
So good.
So that's what's important, is just knowing, okay, like she said, you don't have to know everything, but more than they do, but just make it look prettier in a better box. It's what I think. I'm very system organized. I need to have a checklist. And I think lots of people need to be able to visualize what they can't really see.
It's so good. I think that, what was I going to say? I think that we don't realize a lot of times that our clients are scared too. Like it's not like you're scared, but your clients, a lot of times this business is their baby. This business is their, like my business is my 3rd child, my 4th if you count my husband. I'm just kidding. But like it is.
We do.
We do. But like. So for them, a lot of times outsourcing is scary. And so when you can come in and you're like, hey, this is how I work. This is how I'll invoice. Here's your project. Here's the time. You don't have to worry about this. If you think of something new, here's how you send it to me. And it's a system for them. They're like, oh, I don't have to figure all this out. Like you're making this easy for me. And that's what you want. So it sounds like that's exactly what you're doing.
I had a client tell me that I over communicate, that I communicate too much. They're like, I know exactly where things are at. And in this industry, I have one particular client who's an entrepreneur startup, and they have multiple contractors. And he's like, you are by far the most organized contractor I have. He's like, I know exactly what I can expect from you, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And think, like you said, this is their baby. Could you imagine having a babysitter and you drop off your baby, you don't really know them, you walk out and you're just like, oh gosh, please.
Yeah, right.
That's kind of what they're doing. So we have to be sensitive to them as well.
Yeah. Oh, so good. Thank you for sharing that. Lynette, year ago, first client, what was that like?
It was such an adrenaline rush. Oh my goodness. I screamed. I probably did a little dance since I was in the house by myself. But right after I did that, I took that adrenaline and I sent prospecting emails to 15 more people.
You're like, let me take this energy and I'm just going to more.
I mean, that's serious. That's really real. That adrenaline I took and put it right back into my business because I'm like, I'm feeling like it works. This person believes in me. They believe in what I said to them. So let me take this moment right now and let that fuel me to recreate this over and over again in my business. So it became like a snowball. One client led to another client. And as I began to work with more and more people in different types of businesses, I was able to say, I have worked with clients and provided them with.
Mm-hmm.
Something that I also do at various points in time along my VA journey, I write down experiences with clients because I want to be able to go back and mark progress. I like to go back and read my thoughts, what was going through my head at the time. And actually, after doing this call, I'm going to go back and read what I wrote down like a year ago because it also is a celebratory point to see your development and your growth.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you start out there, there are doubts. Honestly speaking, there are some doubts. You don't know sometimes if you're really going to do this. You don't know how it's going to grow and develop and change over the course of your journey. And so I am really, really excited. Even right now, just thinking about it, remembering, you know what, you wrote some things down a year ago. Go back and read that because that also fuels me right now. And it makes me proud of myself right now because I couldn't see what direction I was going. I just knew I needed to get started.
Yeah.
So when I have the wins, I immediately think, what do I need to do right now in this moment? Because sometimes when you know you need to prospect or get out there and do a video or get out there and make a post, I scrutinize what I'm going to say. I read it over and over again. Again, that perfectionist thing kind of rears its ugly head. But while I'm on that high, I'm like, let me take this right now and put it right back into my business. What do I need to do right now to make some more money or to reach some more people? Because I'm feeling good. I'm talking great. I'm probably thinking I look cute. I'm like, let me do something else right now that's going to push me forward. So if I could encourage anybody to do that, let your wins fuel you to get the next win.
Yeah.
And write some things down. Because I literally just thought to myself, I wrote like, when I purchased this Savvy system, I wrote some things down and I know it's going to make me feel really good about myself when
I
I
know,
go
right?
back and read what I wrote because I feel like I have come so incredibly far and you will feel so good about yourself as you progress along your journey, going back and seeing how you have transcended from level to level and how you have gathered client experiences so that you can take that to the next person and say, well, I have helped this company increase whatever metric you've helped them increase. Oh, yes, I've done that before. Sometimes I don't remember certain things that I've done, but writing things down and realizing, hey, you know what, I can go back and reference, through my notebook, things that I've done in the past. It has helped me move opportunities forward. So that's what it felt like. I was so happy, but immediately it fueled me to get right back into work.
I love that so much. And one of the things, in the virtual Savvy, we do an annual planning retreat. And I think that sometimes those, even if you're a team of one, you can still, establish a meeting rhythm for yourself where it's like, all right, once a year, I'm going to go and I'm going to take a look at where I've been and where I'm going, right? Like, what are the things you've learned? Celebrate where you've come, because sometimes we don't celebrate where we've gone, right? And so look back and say, what happened this past year? And then what are my goals, right? What are my goals for the next year? What am I hitting this year? What's that next step? So thank you so much. That is such great advice. So here's what I would love to do. If you guys have questions in the comments, I'd love to hang out for another 5 minutes or so. And so if there's anything that you guys just want to ask anybody here, you can direct it to one person or you can ask everybody and see who has advice. But I would love to hear in the chat just any questions that you guys have. We'll do a little bit of a Q&A time. While you guys are dropping your questions in the comments, I do want to remind you that the Savvy system is open. So if you've been considering getting it, this is definitely the time. The course is open until February 5th. Let me double check my date. Yes, February 5th. At 10 p.m. Central Time. So if you've been on the fence, if you've been thinking, I'm not sure if this is right for me, everyone here is, and I'm just going to throw you guys in here. Everybody here is in our Savvies group. You can tag them in the group even, and just ask questions or, whatever. if this is right for you, don't let fear hold you back, because look where you can be, 6 months, 1 year, 3 years later. It's truly an honor to talk to you guys because I don't know. Oh, I'm gonna cry. Like I'm just so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you facing your fears. I'm so proud of you guys. Just doing this thing, right? Like just jumping in and saying like, I'm gonna let my motivation outweigh my fear. And yeah, there just needs to be more people in the world like that. So you guys amaze me all the time. Let's do this. Let's go ahead and do a little bit of a Q&A time and see what questions we have. How long, this comes from Aaron, how long do you guys wait on a client response to a proposal without putting undue pressure on them? So I think this is, the first time that you're reaching out to somebody, you're submitting a proposal, like, should you email them like the next day? Should you wait a week? How many times do you follow up with people? Follow up is key, right? I think you guys would probably all agree. So kind of what does that process look like for you? Does anybody have?
For me, my process in the very beginning in September, right? It was, I sent the proposal out and then I waited 3 days and then I waited a week. And if I didn't hear from them, then I was scared and I didn't follow back up, and a lot of people just get busy. Today with HoneyBook, I'm able to set up an automation for all of my new leads and then for people for proposals. So I actually don't even think about it anymore. So after my proposal, they switch over to that stage and then an email goes out to them in 3 days and then goes out to them at 7, goes out to them at 14 and at 30 days. But the message changes. So the first few are just checking up on that proposal that they had with them. And then the next ones are more friendly. Hey, we spoke about 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, and I'm just checking in to see how business is going. I hope you're doing well. They come into a nurture campaign if they haven't made any action by then. But if they've raised their hand to email me by then I move them into more manual again process.
I love that. And that's all just built into HoneyBook, which is phenomenal. And I know Dubsado does something similar. So those, using automation.
CRM could do that. But.
Yeah. Oh, so good. So good. Anybody else have something or should we move on to the next one? There's some good questions in here.
I have something.
Oh, yeah. Go for it.
If you don't hear from someone within a couple days, don't change your, what do I want to say? Like jumping out there with your price, your hourly, whether it's hourly or a retainer. Do not, once you determine your cost, number one, don't do anything for free.
Yes.
Number two, once you set your cost, stand on that. And don't think that just because you don't hear back from someone you gave a proposal to, that their objection is cost. It's great to go back and check in, but I definitely wouldn't want anyone to think, you know what, it's a cost thing. Like if you're going to go back and check in and make sure things are fine, do that. But don't start ripping yourself up about your costs. Do the hard work to decide what your hourly is going to be or what your project fee-based rate is going to be and stand on that. And if you don't hear back on a proposal and you don't get more input from the client on what might be going on, they might have something going on within their business. They might have something personally going on. If you don't hear back, keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
So good.
We're not bartering for our services here.
No, right?
Nope.
Sam, did you have something too?
Oh, I was going to say after a certain point, it's like they ghost me because it happens, right? You don't ever hear from them. They fell off the face of the earth. I send what's called the magic email, and you can Google it. But it's basically, which it hurts my 9 heart because I'm like, oh, this is kind of very straightforward. But it's magic. It's worked so well. And they'll usually come up with like, oh, I'm so sorry. I've been out of it. Like my mind hasn't changed. Like she said, we've been busy or whatever, but the magic email.
Oh, good tip. Thank you. That's awesome. All right. So how did you know, Brittany asked, that it was time to niche down? Because all of you
I can start with this one. Yeah. For me, it was the first like red flag for me was that I felt that I couldn't serve my clients and my family best. And so I started feeling like I listened to my gut and I started feeling uneasy about that. And then for me, I also knew I wanted to hit these numbers like goal wise, and I couldn't do that with where I was at this way. So you could also do things before you niche down where like increase your prices, your packages, things like that. But then I also knew that I loved social media, and then I loved Facebook and Instagram ads. So like I actually love doing those things. Whereas opposed to some of the things I was doing, I was like, I don't care. So for me, it was like passion and then family.
Yeah. So good. I think I'm going to do this question, then I'll jump back to another one because I feel like this really goes hand in hand with that. Do you find yourself working more hours than initially anticipated, or have you scaled to longer hours once you felt your VA business was successful? So I feel like this is a really good question because I know it's easy to be a workaholic, especially if it's something you love, right? And I don't think there's anything wrong with like at the beginning, you know, if you've got the time and you're motivated and you love it, like work 60 hours and go for it. But eventually that's not sustainable. So don't do that forever. So kind of lead us through your process of what that looks like for you.
Make sure that you're charging for those hours for sure.
Yes,
In the very beginning, I was like, I'm so excited to have clients and I love this. I'm going to sell my 40-hour package, but I'm really working 60 hours, you know, and it was really big for me to be able to set those boundaries, and Toggle helped with that because Toggle helped with that because I got to see where I was spending those hours.
Yeah.
I have a timer on my, I have a productivity timer too, so that I'm saying, okay, I'm only spending X amount of time on this particular project. But it was really good to do that, but you have to have faith in yourself. And if I'm getting down to it, get faith in yourself to be able to say, I gave you 40 hours and this 40 hours is enough. Make sure that if you're going to spend extra hours, it's on your business, not in your business. That's what I would think.
That's such great advice.
Can I add to that?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the other things I remember learning in the very beginning, not only was deciding how much I wanted to charge hourly, but it was deciding what my capacity is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
I had two very young children and I am a single woman. So it was not an option for me to work 40, 60 hours. I needed to sleep. Mama needed a weekend day every now and then. Like, just burning the candle at both ends was not sustainable for me. And then as I began to work with more and more clients, I noticed that I could pick up on when people are burning out or when someone is overloaded. And I made a decision for myself when I sensed that I was working with someone who was overloaded, that I don't want to show up like that in my business. We are significant people to business owners. We are almost like partners where they are trusting us to take things off their plate and provide them with relief. I don't want to stretch myself so much where I'm showing up tired or things are potentially maybe slipping. And I'm not saying that that's what anyone would do who's working more than 40 hours or more than the time that they committed to. But if you are committed to 40 hours, but you're working 60, you're lowering your hourly rate.
Mm-hmm.
And ain't nothing I do cheap.
Right? It's not valuing yourself.
Sorry, people. That was just to keep a real moment. Nothing I do is cheap. So if I'm putting my hourly rate in one place and I'm committing to you that time, I don't want to cheapen my time or devalue myself by committing to you 40, but putting in 60, because then I'm not running a sustainable business and then I'm going to get tired.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So decide on what your capacity is. If you are a person who has 30 hours to spend in a week, decide that you're going to focus in that 30 hours and you're going to make the most of that 30 hours and stay true to the commitment that you make to your client and just honor the commitment that you're making to yourself, especially if you have a lifestyle business. You want your business to allow you to live a certain lifestyle. You're not going to have that lifestyle if you are working around the clock and not getting your weekends. And that's just what I had to decide for me. Everyone else's journey is different.
Yeah, because you'll establish that. right? You will establish that pattern for yourself. And it's just
Mhm.
like, start as you intend to go, as is definitely one of like my phrases that I say, like, what do I want this to look like? Let's go ahead and start that way, and not like, oh, I'll just compromise. I'll go ahead and work these extra 10 hours and not build. No, because you will set that pattern for yourself. So good, you guys. And I want to just say something too. I think that for a lot of us, we're busy people, right? We've got a lot going on. And even just, those of us sitting here, like Lynette, you're a single mom and have like done this and said, hey, I'm going to set my boundaries and I'm going to do this thing. Samantha, you got 4 kids and Leilani, you're a foster care mom, right? Like we are the people who get things done. And I think that like the people that are really successful that I have found that have gone through the program are just the people that are like, we just get things done because we know how to say no, because we know how to truly find balance. And some people hate that word, but I think that it's, you have to say, like, if I'm saying yes to one thing, I'm saying no to something else. And so I'm going to, decide these are the times I'm saying yes to these things. These are the times that I'm saying no, and I'm not going to compromise those things. So,
and saying that though, it's not easy to say no.
No.
You just have to know that you are just as important as your clients are.
Mm-hmm.
Just back to that question real quick on when I knew it was time for me to niche down is when I realized I wasn't having as much fun in the administrative things that I thought I would have at first. I was like, oh, I could work from home and do data entry, calendar management, write cards. I could do all those things. Yes, and I'm good at them as I am with anything, but it doesn't bring me joy. It doesn't bring me as much joy as watching my children. So what does bring me joy? Project management and systems. So I was able to make that shift and put it in a project package versus hours. One, I started making a ton more money, but I also was very much more happy than I was in the beginning. But I also know that there's a place for that business as well. So I was able, with also your subcontracting and things that come in the package, learn myself how to hire somebody else to continue that. Again, I got to step back from my business and realize it's more than just doing something. I want to create an agency as well. So that I got all from the system as well. Again, we're not alone. All of our businesses are unique and different. And being able to have the community to bounce this information off of each other, we get to create something that's just as unique.
Yeah. Oh, so good. Gold. All right, here's what we're gonna do, because I think I could talk like all day to you guys. So I don't want to. But I would love this. Any other, just like maybe we'll just go around the horn one time and just you're kind of like your parting words, one final piece of advice, especially for somebody who is, whether it's a savvy system or not, maybe they're just deciding like, is virtual assistants for me or not, right? Just kind of one more, just kind of word of encouragement from you guys. What would you say to anybody who's just kind of on the fence of, can I really do this? And let's see, we'll start with Sam.
Dang it, I had to think.
Or we can go with somebody else, it's fine.
Okay.
whoever wants to jump in. Yeah, Leilani, go for it.
My final thought would just be to know yourself and know that you did stumble upon gold. If you found the Savvy system, and if you can't afford it right now, take what you can and build off that. And once you start making money, I mean, the fact that you offer the monthly plan was huge for me. I bought all the things, all the systems from you guys, but I have to pay on a monthly basis because I couldn't afford it outright. And so go at your own pace. But you have to do it. You have to put work. We have to put one foot in front of the other if we're going to get anywhere in life. And this is one more step for yourself. Invest in yourself. I can't say that enough for people. I wish I would have done it sooner. And if you ever want to reach out to me, message me, feel free. Tag me in the group. I'd be happy to share my thoughts with you as well. It's not easy. Okay. I'm not going to paint the walls and say it was the most easiest thing I ever did. It took work and it took dedication and time, but I would do it 10 times over.
So good. Who else? last piece of advice?
I'll go.
Yeah.
I want to go back and reference something that I said earlier in this conversation. And that is that when I was sitting in your shoes, I had no idea everything that I gained. You might be looking at the dollar amount and saying, okay, I could get the Savvy system, the Savvy Vault, and and the VA toolkit. You might be trying to quantify it that way, but there is so much more that you're going to receive over the course of the time that you are in the program. Again, your accountability partner, you've got the Facebook community, there will be expert coaches. There's so much information. And one of the things that I struggled with when I started was mindset and limiting belief. And once I began to really tap in and expose myself to people who were doing what I already wanted to do and participating more and more, I got to see, okay, here's the goal. How do I break the plan down to accomplish that goal? Once I built up the knowledge and started to expand my network, it began to seem more possible to me that I could have a lifestyle business. I could build a legacy for these two girls, you know? Do not sell yourself short. If there are things, if there are challenges that you're having as far as mindset right now, you have to make a decision that you're going to conquer those limiting beliefs. You're going to cast those things down to the side, and you're going to make a decision that you're going to create a life that you'll love, a lifestyle that you'll love, and you're going to take this step or something that is going to increase your life. This is a business that will continue to grow and change. The things that you decide in the next 30 to 60 days are not going to be what your business looks like for life. And the best part about that is you are in the driver's seat for how your business is going to grow and change. The three of us are all in different areas and come from three completely different backgrounds. And we have flourished because we have continued to search ourselves and find the things that have brought us joy. But we started at step one, which was making this investment today.
Mm.
So knowing that I was where you are literally 1 year ago, like literally, it's still blowing my mind, like saying that right now. I'm so honored to be able to be saying this to you all as someone who's been where you are. And I hope that there's something that I've said or that any of us have said that have really pricked you and prompted and pushed you to send your money. Send the money, people. Send it.
We're
I'm
going to get
telling you,
evangelists here.
so much more to gain, people. So much more to gain. I'm sorry. We got so much more to gain here. You're
I
not
would tell them
losing
to say any
anything.
of this, you guys. That's
We
Okay.
were not paid to say this.
I was not, sometimes you just got to keep it simple. Send the money, okay?
Invest in yourself. So good.
Ah.
I love it.
Oh, good. Yeah. So everything they said, right? I think this talk, I'm with Abby. I could do this forever. But reach out to us if you have questions. But then also, like, what is your why? Why do you want to start a business? Even now, however many years later, I have to refocus my why. Maybe there's a new why. Like currently, he's not in the room. We are living in Tennessee, and my business is supporting my family. I went from like, let me start this because my baby needs me. I only need X amount a month, right? Is what it was, to this business, because we just moved across country, is supporting my entire family, and we're living off of this baby business. So one, remember your why. Create a why every stage in your business. Know your why. Why do you need this business? Is it family? Is it you want extra spending money? I don't care what it is. Just stick to it and know it. And then two, don't be afraid of change. Don't be afraid to pivot. Don't be afraid to grow. I never in a million years, just like these ladies, thought that my life would look like this because of this system, because of one step I took. And you can Google, and learn all of the how to do a VA. But for me, I was like, no, I trust her. I stalked her. I trust the community. I've been in virtual SAV, this group, right? I'm absolutely going to invest in myself. I want to know everything. Like, I want my mentor, Abby, to teach me all these things so I can just go and get a business and get a client super fast. And if any of this scares you or there's fear or mindset, whatever, again, just freaking do it. The community will catch you. We will catch you. Like we've all said, reach out to us. Like we will be your coach. We'll give you a spanking. We will encourage you, be a cheerleader, like whatever you need. We got you. But take the time, invest it. It will pay itself out in dividends for sure. 100%.
You
I
got
just said
it.
thanks.
Yeah. One of the things that
You.
I find interesting is my husband, actually, he was a breadwinner, still is a breadwinner, but he's actually working for me now.
Oh
He
my
does
God.
part of the social media for me, and I pay him. And
Is
we're
that fun?
structuring the business, but it's not in a, but just for me to be like, wow, I'm paying my husband to do some work. And again, our business is changing, just like everybody else says. So dive in. I think we're all here just to tell you that we're so glad we did it, right? But you got to make this decision for yourself. And you don't want to be just like working out is, you know, when you're trying to work out or do something with your body and you're like, oh, I should start that Monday. Oh, Monday was like 4 months ago. You know, like that's what this will turn into if you don't do it now. You know, so just get off the couch and onto your computer.
You
Can I
guys.
say one more thing?
Yeah, go for it.
Something that I noticed while I was in the group, and I'm looking at these comments. So whoever's saying that you love me, I love you too, by the way. I love saying that. But there are people who are on this live right now and people who show up in the groups who start this journey and then stop and pick it back up months later, or sometimes don't pick it back up at all. I want to just take this space to just talk directly to you as well. Not only is it time for you to pick this back up, but pick it up better. You've made an investment. You owe it to yourself. And in picking it up better, I challenge you to find accountability.
Mm-hmm.
I challenge you to take the time to get on these calls. I challenge you to take the time each week to go into the Facebook groups, comment on some posts, put what you're working on, put what your thoughts are, whether it's a limiting belief or not. Figure out a way to get yourself back in the game.
So good.
Okay, wait, I'm just going to pivot one more thing off hers. And then in doing that, put on your blinders, because imposter syndrome is real. And you might look at like us and be like, oh my God, I can never do what these ladies are doing. You don't have to do what we're doing. You can do whatever fits right for your life and your plan and whatever. But like, put on the blinders and like Lynette said, get to work. Sorry, I said that.
It's so good. I just want to let you guys stop. Just keep going. It's so good. It's so good. It's amazing. Like I can get up here and say this stuff, you know, I can get up here and say this, but to hear from you guys who like are in the middle of it, right? Who started your business 6 months, a year, 3 years ago, and to hear the journey at different phases and the fears at different stages, because the fears don't stop. They just change, right? And so to just hear from you guys and to see examples of people who just said, like, I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to let my why, push me past my fear. And yeah, it's just super inspiring. As you can tell from all the comments, everybody loves you guys. I love you guys. Thank you so much. And yeah, just if you guys have questions, just reach out, and we hope to see you in the Savvy System. Come join our little family and have an awesome rest of the day.